We began looking at a scenario where the Z-Fighters are now much stronger than before. They're growing at a rate similar to Saiyans, and they might actually have access to transformations now, but nothing is shown just yet. Although, there are some big changes with the group that's training in preparation for the Saiyans. There's a few extra people there, and some of them have altered powers from the get-go. How is that going to affect the Saiyan saga going forward? We'll explore all that and more in part 2 of What If the Z-Fighters Broke Their Limits. 1 year has passed since Raditz' death. Everyone's been training since then. Everyone's seen some pretty great leaps in power. But there are some pretty big ones. For one, Gohan is actually getting a lot more experience fighting. He's feeling a lot more confident as a fighter, and he's controlling his power, but he still doesn't have full control. But training with his parents for this whole year, that's really helped him. Everyone else, of course, has seen an increase in power. Piccolo still is not on Earth yet. He ends up having the same issue that Goku did, and he leaves King Kai's planet a little bit late. But it shouldn't be too bad. There's a bigger group of fighters here, and it's a stronger group of fighters too. One of the other big changes is with Krillin. Roshi's been working on his full power form, trying to increase his full power actually. And at the same time, Krillin unlocked his own full power form. The height increase and muscle increase is awesome for him. I mean, he's always been a short guy, so this is awesome. And of course, this is going to be useful for combat. Tenshinhan and Yamcha are training for their own things, kinda. They have different paths as martial artists, and they wonder if maybe they'll be able to unlock some sort of form for themselves. I mean, if it's even possible for them to transform. They don't know yet, but it's definitely worth looking into. That max power thing that Roshi and Krillin have is awesome, and Goku and the Saiyans apparently had that Uzaru form. They wonder if the humans have some sort of innate transformation too, besides just that max power thing. They're not sure, but definitely something to keep in mind. Let's go over some power levels right now. Goku's at 7,000, the strongest of the group. Well, one of the strongest of the group because Roshi's at the exact same power level, 7,000, at least when he's in his full power mode. As for Krillin, he's not too far behind, 6,000 at full power. Chi-Chi's also seen a pretty great increase too. She's at a power of 4,000, with Tenshinhan being around the same. Yamcha's a little bit behind, but still at 3,000, which is very admirable. It took him a little bit to get back into training, but now he's growing a lot more rapidly. Then there's Gohan. No one knows the true extent of his power, but with his controlled power, he's at a level of 2,000. And then there's Chaozu, who's also at 2,000. Nobody knows what Piccolo's power is like yet because they haven't seen him in a year, but they're interested to see how strong he's grown. Although, that's not their main focus right now, because the time for battle has come. The group encounters Vegeta and Nappa in a wasteland, with the two Saiyans glad to see Kakarot's there, as well as his hybrid son. They're gonna give him one last chance. I mean, he could be a great replacement for Raditz after all. Consider this them being gracious, giving Kakarot a chance to survive before they kill everyone here. Goku tells them he's not concerned by their threats. They will be defeated here and now. He tells them to get off this planet, and Vegeta says very well. If that's how it's gonna be, well, a battle can then commence. Nappa starts by planting some Cybermen, expecting that they'll clean up most of the fighters here. Ten, Yamcha, and Chaozu are the ones to actually fight the Cybermen, and they do that relatively easily, with no effort at all. One of the Cybermen even jumps on Yamcha, trying to blow himself up, but before he could even do that, Yamcha's able to grab him, rip the Cyberman right off him, throwing up into the sky, jumping up and then killing him with a Wolf Fang fist. Not a scratch on him. Well, besides the ones on his face, but you know what I mean. Well, looks like these Earthlings are stronger than they expected. I mean, they did kill Raditz after all, so it's no surprise that they didn't have any trouble with the Cybermen either. But still, for those 3 regular Earthlings to defeat all those Cybermen at once, maybe they're underestimating the Earthlings a bit. Nappa goes in next to attack, with those same 3 fighters fending him off and Krillin jumping in to help. And at the same time, Roshi, Chi-Chi, and Gohan follow Goku as he goes to confront Vegeta. Goku's confident that he'll be able to defeat Vegeta, especially with the help of the people alongside him. Sure, Goku's a little bit weaker than normal. He didn't go to King Kai's planet and get that training there, and he doesn't have access to Kaioken. But still, his power is incredible. 7,000. Compared to before at least, that's way better. Not comparable to Vegeta's power, but still significant. And Vegeta notes these powers on a scouter. Collectively, that's actually a pretty strong group. And with all their powers combined, he's slightly outmatched, at least in terms of raw strength. But individually, he could defeat all of them easily. Vegeta assumes a battle stance and begins fending off against these 4 fighters at once. Immediately, it's clear that he has the upper hand. But again, the group still isn't worried. They can tell that the other half of the group isn't having too hard of a time with Nappa. Especially with the fact that once Krillin got involved, that tipped the scales very far. Nappa was already significantly outmatched in that battle in terms of raw power, and obviously outmatched in terms of numbers. But once Krillin joined, it kind of became overkill. Because Krillin alone here probably would have been able to contend with him actually. Not that he would know, because Nappa's defeated relatively easily. The group's about to join Goku and the others in their battle with Vegeta, leaving Nappa behind unconscious. Or, seemingly, he's laying there, injured, and he tries to launch a sneaky attack, aiming for the weakest one he could see, Chaozu. But Ten quickly is able to jump in front of the attack, launching his own retaliation. This not only sends Nappa's blast back to him, but of course he gets hit by Ten's too, killing Nappa in the process. It's too risky to leave him out like that, so it's good that they get rid of him while they have the chance. And now the full group is fighting Vegeta together, and he's actually having some issue pushing them back. Krillin and Roshi utilize their maximum power, with everyone else at full strength too. What's worse is that they know his weak point. Of course, his tail is trained, and if they grab it, that's not going to matter to him. What does matter is if they cut the tail off, preventing him from transforming, and he knows they're aiming for that right now. They did the same with Raditz. They were monitoring the fight over the Scouters after all. Whether they knew it would prevent Raditz from transforming or not, that doesn't matter. The fact is they know to target the tail. And Vegeta did want to wait to do this, but he decides it's a better option to just transform into a Great Ape right now while he still can, in case he can't later on. But there is another issue too. Gohan's there. He has his tail. There'll be another Great Ape over there. But still, Vegeta could overpower everyone, even with Gohan as a Great Ape. It shouldn't be an issue. Quickly, he creates an artificial moon, throwing it up into the sky. The group has no idea of what it is, but Vegeta explains. They know about the Ozaru transformation. Luckily for him, he doesn't need an actual full moon there. The Saiyans have other ways of getting the transformation to activate. Quickly, Goku and Chi-Chi get Gohan out of there. They tell him to look away, knowing that he'll transform if he looks up there. Unfortunately, he can't fight now, so they're losing one of their fighters. But at least this way he doesn't transform and go berserk. He hides nearby, and contemplates. What if they end up needing his help? Maybe he can look up at the moon, turning into a Great Ape himself, even if he does lose control. He keeps it in the back of his mind. And unfortunately for him, he can't watch the fight go on. He'll risk looking at the moon that way, but he tries to sense it, somewhat spectate. But then someone else arrives. A somewhat familiar face. It's Yajirobe. He's been doing a little bit of training. I mean, he's a bit lazy, so he's not too much stronger than normal. And he tells Gohan he's gonna go in there and help. And Gohan tells him, aim for Vegeta's tail, slice off, get him to de-transform. And Yajirobe's nervous to go in, but he tries to put on courageous face, pulling out his sword, jumping into the battle. But before he can even get involved, he sees a red streak of light fly by them, heading into the battlefield. The others narrowly jump out of the way, as something hits Vegeta square in the face. Too quick for them to even see. It doesn't do too much damage, but Vegeta still recoils from it. What kind of attack was that? An attack that's able to damage him as a Great Ape? No one should be that strong. But on one of the cliffs nearby, he sees another fighter standing there, a Namekian. The group all looks up. Piccolo's back. He apologizes for being a little bit late, but his new technique should more than make up for it. While training with King Kai, of course he wasn't able to learn the Spirit Bomb. He's not pure enough to do that. But thankfully King Kai still had a very important technique for him to learn, the Kaioken. His whole time there was spent focusing on this technique. Not to mention, Piccolo's a little bit advantaged when using this. Kaioken literally will tear your body apart. But that's okay for someone who's a Namekian and can regenerate. Of course, he still has limits to using it. I mean, when he's regenerating, he's still using a lot of his stamina. But at least it's not destroying his body to use this. Because of the extra focus that he had on learning this technique, and his ability to regenerate, he's actually able to use this form at higher levels than Goku did, at least when he first got it. He tells everybody, this technique multiplies his power tenfold. With his regular power, he's at a level of 8,000, higher than anybody else in the group. With Kaioken, which he can use pretty flawlessly in short bursts, that power can go up to 80,000. Vegeta laughs, that still won't be enough. That's less than half of his power. But Piccolo tells Vegeta to not get so cocky. Who knows how far he can push the Kaioken? He's had a year with it after all. And wonders if Vegeta truly wants to test it. He powers up into times 10, jumping in at the battle as Vegeta fends off everybody else at the same time. But now with Piccolo there, he works as a really good distraction. Of course, even in times 10, he's not stronger than Vegeta. And probably not faster than Vegeta either. But this still really does help. Especially since Vegeta has so many other things going on at once. He knows he has to still protect his tail, not knowing whenever anyone else can attack him. And there's still some very strategic techniques from the rest of the people in the group. All the fighters there now actually know the Solar Flare, which they could probably land on Vegeta a few times. The first time is purely out of surprise, and the other few times, it's because they have multiple people that know how to do it, making Vegeta extra cautious to try and avoid it somehow. But he can't, unless he literally just closes his eyes. That can come from any angle to blind him, and as soon as his vision restores, he can get blinded again, and again, and again, and out of anger, he charges up Ki in his fist, slamming it into the ground. The earth shakes. Plumes of lava fly out everywhere in the area. Everyone's knocked back, as Vegeta then charges a beam in his mouth, sweeping it around the area as they try to desperately dodge it. He's enraged beyond belief. All these stupid tricks they're using against him. They're not gonna work. He'll kill them here and now. He keeps slamming his fist around, shaking everything in the area, trying to get all the fighters into one space. Briefly, Piccolo flares up into Kaioken times 20. This one's a little bit more stressful, but he can still manage it a little bit. And here, his power is actually somewhat close to Vegeta. It's a perfect distraction. Krillin charges his Kienzan, flinging it right at Vegeta's tail. Vegeta jumps up in the air, knowing to expect it and dodging it relatively easily. But what he didn't account for is that there's someone else there. Just as Gohan's about to jump out and try and transform into a Great Ape himself, Yajirobe then jumps in. While Vegeta's midair, he goes under his radar. His power is too low for Vegeta to even notice. Not that it's incredibly low, but still lower than the others. He's able to cleanly cut right through Vegeta's tail, with Vegeta cursing everything. Damn it! He didn't know there was someone else there. Desperately, he tries to charge one last attack as a Great Ape, launching a massive mouth beat, aimed right at the group. But Piccolo jumps in front of it, flaring up into times 20, effortlessly defending against it, as the power from the beam grows smaller and smaller while Vegeta also gets smaller and smaller, with Piccolo's own attack overpowering it, launching Vegeta far up into the sky. Vegeta stops himself before he flies too far. He's dead here. There's no way he's making it out, unless he figures out some way to make an escape here. Piccolo launches up towards him and Kaioken, ready to finish this and kill Vegeta with one shot. Vegeta quickly turns over to where Gohan is, launching a couple blasts at him. None of them hit, but they destroy the rocks around him, giving Gohan a clear view of the moon. Gohan then transforms, as Piccolo tries to fight Vegeta, with Vegeta desperately dodging every attack. At least that great ape distracts everybody else, and he tries to lead Piccolo towards Gohan, setting Gohan's sights on Piccolo. It ends up working, and on a whim, Vegeta launches a volley of ki blasts everywhere, throwing up smoke in every direction. Of course they can still sense Vegeta, but he tries to lower his power, trying to do what these Earthlings can do. Piccolo has to fend off against Gohan, and Vegeta takes this as his one opportunity. He won't get another. As quickly as he can, he flies off, with his power once again flaring up, and everyone being able to sense him without needing to see him through the smoke or whatever. He's already called a space pod, with Vegeta getting inside of it midair as it launches right off into space. The cleanest escape that he could try. He did it! He made it out of here alive. Krillin's able to cut off Gohan's tail as he shrinks back down to a normal size. Vegeta hates the fact that he had to escape. It was so cowardly, but he saw no other way to survive this. He should have saw the battle through to its end, but at the same time, he still does need to be smart. And to be fair, at least to keep his pride in check, he tells himself he was at an unfair disadvantage anyways. He was fighting against that entire group alone. But still, to think that he couldn't win here, it's a huge blow to his ego, and he's pissed about it. But he's also injured and tired out. He falls into unconsciousness as the ship leads him back to the Frieza planet. Back down on the surface, everyone's a bit injured, but okay. Thankfully, no one died. Well, except Nappa. Piccolo curses it. They almost had him, but he does commend Vegeta's strategy. They thought he would just be a meathead relying on pure strength, but he seemed to have a good idea of what strategies to use in battle. Definitely a fearsome opponent. He looks over at Goku and grins. Now it's time for their rematch, and Goku laughs this off, saying he needs a little bit more time to heal first, at least to make it fair. But he tells Piccolo that new technique he has is pretty cool. Well, looks like they're going to have to prepare for Vegeta's return. He's definitely going to come back sometime soon, and who knows how strong he'll grow, especially with them knowing that Saiyans grow a lot stronger whenever they get injured, especially close to death like that. They don't know how strong Vegeta will be in their next encounter, but they need to be prepared for it. Little do they know though, Vegeta's not the main thing that they have to worry about. Vegeta eventually gets back to that Frieza planet, not even being able to get off the ship because he's unconscious. Vegeta's pulled out of the ship and placed in a healing pod, and Frieza gets word of this. Well, on one hand this is good news. 2 of the 3 Saiyans that he knows of are dead. But he does wonder, what ended up killing those other 2? And why is Vegeta so injured? What kind of planet did they go to that there was someone strong enough to fight those Saiyans? Vegeta definitely wasn't the strongest member in his crew, but he was one of the strongest. This must be a pretty strong planet if they're able to fend off against Vegeta. And that means it must be a pretty valuable planet too. He could possibly send his troops there. I mean, he knows nothing about this planet. He's gonna have to look into it a bit first. But there's potential for profit here. And who knows, maybe he could send Vegeta back, and they'll finish the job, killing Vegeta. No more Saiyans, and he gets a valuable planet in the process. Thankfully, nobody here knows about the Dragon Balls. Not Vegeta, not Frieza, no one. Their sights are set on Earth though, not because of the Dragon Balls, but because it's potentially pretty valuable. And Frieza begins contemplating, what should his next move be? And should he have Vegeta involved at all? There's something that Vegeta's probably hiding from him. He didn't consider that either. Why did the Saiyans make 2 separate trips to this planet? Raditz dying in the first trip? That might have just been some random freak occurrence. Why did Vegeta and Nappa head there? Vengeance for Raditz? That doesn't seem likely. Did they do it out of pride to finish the job? Well, if they're just trying to win against the entire planet itself, they could have just blown it up. Maybe they were preserving it because it was valuable. Or maybe there was someone there that they were going after. It wasn't the planet itself, and Frieza's beginning to piece everything together. How did the Saiyans know of this planet in the first place? Why did they go there? And why did they get beat up so badly? All these thoughts are rushing through his mind. This is definitely something he should check out. And this is where we'll leave off for now. What'd you guys think about this part? What do you think's gonna happen next time, especially with everything set up here? Let me know any thoughts in the comments below, and I'll be sure to check them out to see what you guys think. Be sure to drop a like if you liked the video and want to see more like this, and be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.